Right now, somewhere in your home, your dog is watching you. Maybe you're sitting on the couch. Maybe you just walked into the kitchen. Maybe you picked up your phone. It doesn't matter because here's what most people don't realize. Your dog is always reading you. Every movement, every breath, every subtle shift in your posture. And the question that behavioral scientists have been quietly obsessing over for the last 2 decades is this. When your dog looks at you, what are they actually seeing? Not in the poetic sense, in the literal, neurological, biological sense. Because the answer is not what most people think. Most people assume their dog sees an owner, maybe a friend, maybe the person who fills the bowl. But animal behavior research tells a completely different story. One that changes not just how you see your dog, but how you see the relationship you've spent years building with. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start with what your dog actually sees when they look at you. 1. They see a leader, but not the way you think. The first thing you need to understand is that your dog is not looking at you the way another human would. Dogs evolved from wolves, and for tens of thousands of years before they ever set foot in a human home, their entire social world was organized around one concept, the pack. In every pack, there is structure, there is hierarchy, there is always someone whose presence signals safety, whose movements signal direction, whose behavior tells every other member of the group what the situation is and how to respond to it. Your dog never stopped operating that way. When your dog watches you move through the house, when they follow you from room to room, when they pause what they're doing to check where you went, they are not being clingy. They are doing something that is millions of years old. They are maintaining proximity to the person their nervous system has identified as the anchor of their social world. But here's the part that most people get wrong about this. The word leader gets twisted. People hear it and think dominance. They think control. They think the relationship is about power. It isn't. Researchers studying dog-human attachment have found that when dogs orient toward their owners in new or stressful environments, they're not seeking commands. They're seeking a read. They're asking a question that doesn't have words. Is this safe? And they're looking to the person they trust most to answer it. That's not dominance. That's something deeper. That's security. When your dog looks at you, part of what they see is the answer to that question. They are reading you for information about whether the world right now is okay. Your calm is their calm. Your tension becomes their tension. Your confidence literally regulates their nervous system. You are not just their owner. You are their reference point for reality. 2. They see your emotions before you show them. There's a study that researchers at the University of Lincoln and University of Sao Paulo published that fundamentally changed the way scientists think about dog cognition. They showed dogs images of human faces and dog faces, some displaying positive expressions, some displaying negative ones, while simultaneously playing audio of voices with matching or mismatching emotional tone. What they found was that dogs consistently looked longer at the face that matched the emotional tone of the voice, not just for humans, for other dogs too. What this means is that dogs do not just react to tone of voice. They are integrating information across multiple sensory channels and forming a unified emotional read. They are, in a word that seems almost too strong but is technically accurate, recognizing emotions. Your dog knows when you're sad, not because they can read your thoughts, because they have been calibrated over years of living with you to detect the micro signals your body produces before you've consciously processed the emotion yourself. The slight slump in your posture, the change in your breathing pattern, the way your voice loses its edge even when you're trying to keep it neutral. Researchers at Goldsmiths University found that dogs actively approach and attempt to comfort humans who are crying, doing so more often than when the same person was humming or talking. And they don't just approach, they approach in a way that looks deliberately soothing. Low body, gentle contact, no demand for play. Your dog doesn't need you to tell them you're having a hard day. They already know, and they've already decided what to do about it. 3. They see your routine, and they predict you. This one surprises people when they first hear it, but once you understand the mechanism, it makes complete sense. Your dog does not experience time the way you do. They don't have a clock. They don't know what 6 p.m., but they almost always know when you're about to leave the house. Sometimes before you've made a single conscious move toward the door. How is that possible? Because dogs are extraordinary pattern recognition machines. Over weeks and months of living with you, your dog has built an internal map of your behavioral sequences. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, you make coffee, you shower in a specific order, you put on certain shoes on certain days, you pick up certain bags, and somewhere in that sequence there is a signal. Maybe it's the sound of your keys, maybe it's the combination of shoes plus jacket plus bag, maybe it's simply the rhythm of your movements speeding up slightly, and that signal has been paired over hundreds of repetitions with you walking out the door. Dogs' brains are built to find these patterns and hold on to them. It's a survival mechanism that goes back to their wild ancestors who needed to predict when prey would be at the waterhole when storms were coming, when danger was close. Your Your dog has redirected that same machinery towards you. They are not psychic. They are paying closer attention to your daily patterns than you are yourself. And here's the part that matters. When your dog starts showing distress before you've done anything visibly departure related, when they follow you anxiously to the bathroom, when they won't settle even though you're still there, they are not being dramatic. Their pattern recognition has already calculated the outcome, and their body is already responding to it. Your routine, your ordinary daily sequence of behaviors that you probably don't think about at all, is a language your dog has spent years learning to read. 4. They see your body more than your face. This is the part that people find most counterintuitive. Dogs have relatively poor facial recognition compared to humans. Their visual acuity is roughly 20/75. They see detail at 20 feet that we can see at 75 feet. The fine features of a human face, the subtle expressions that we rely on to read each other, are not what dogs are primarily using when they look at us. What they're using is your body, posture, movement, gait, gesture. The way you hold your shoulders when you're relaxed versus when you're tense. The way your walk changes when you're in a hurry versus when you're calm. The way you stand when you're about to engage with them versus when you want them to settle. Research from the Dog Cognition Lab at the University of Portsmouth found that dogs read whole body emotion cues with remarkable accuracy. More accurately, in fact, than they read isolated facial expression. When the body and face were given conflicting signals, dogs consistently oriented toward the body. This has a practical implication that most people never consider. When you try to reassure your dog with a calm voice, but your body is rigid with anxiety, your dog doesn't believe you. When you try to project confidence with your words, but your posture is collapsed and uncertain, your dog reads the posture. Your dog is not listening to what you say. They're watching what you do. Every second of every day they spend with you, they are updating their read of you through your movements, your stillness, your physical presence in space. You are speaking a language to your dog constantly. Most people just don't realize they're doing it. 5. They see their safe place. And this is the part that changes everything. In the late 1990s, researchers began adapting a psychological framework, originally developed to study attachment bonds between human infants and their caregiver, to study dogs and their owner. The test is called the Strange Situation Procedure. It was designed to measure something very specific, not whether an animal is bonded to a person, but the quality of that bond, whether the relationship provides a secure base that the animal can use to explore the world, whether the absence of that person triggers real distress, whether the reunion, the return, produces genuine relief. When they ran this test on dogs, the results were, in the words of the researchers, striking. Dogs with their owners explored freely, showed curiosity, engaged with the environment. Dogs separated from their owners became distressed, lost interest in exploration, became focused entirely on the absent person. Dogs reunited with their owners calmed quickly, reset, returned to exploration. This is the behavioral fingerprint of a secure attachment bond. It is the same pattern found in human children with their primary caregivers, and it was found in dogs with their owners, across cultures, across breeds, in study after study.